Hey, good afternoon and welcome to Yeshiva YouTube, Iyun and to Lean On. Today's Simon Kufay in 170 in Arachaim is quite baffling. Most of the halachas don't seem to make any sense. Can't talk at the meal. I can't imagine most meals everybody talks. Um, when two people are eating from a bowl together, one person has to wait for the other person to drink. Why are people eating from a bowl together? You can't look at somebody while they're eating. Sakanas nefashos, the Gemara says, to drink from someone else's cup. Which actually is conflicting with the later halacha in this, and Chav Bey is the last halacha, that you could wipe it off and drink. That doesn't seem to make any sense. If someone gives you food, you can't refuse it. Just leave it there. Um, when you're drinking something, don't put it on the table after you start a drink from it. Hold on to it, your hand, until the waiter comes to get it. A bunch of halachas that are very peculiar to say the least. Doesn't make any sense. And I'll tell you what my impression. Again, these halachas are taken from various sources. A lot of them from Hilchos Derech Eretz, which is a separate masechta, not in the main masechtas of Shas. Some are random Gemara. Some Rishonim felt it was proper hanhaga in the meal, proper way to act at a meal. I would say most of this is talking about you are captured and you capture the mafia. You're in prison. You're at someone. You're at the hands of a foreign government. You're basically a slave or something like that. Basically that's what you are. You're not a bala. You're not getting invited to your friend's house for a meal. That's not what we're talking about over here. We're talking about a place. You're in jail. You're, you know, ransomed by. You're taken captive by some government or some people, and they give you food. And they sit you down, maybe with yourself, maybe with other people. You have to be on your best behavior, and that's what I was talking about. Even at a meal, you got to be your best behavior. You have to uh, take 2 sips, not 1 sip, not 3 sips. You can't look at anybody else. You can't talk for sure, not right. Anything the Balabayas says you have to do, one of the halachas, except leave, right? Because if he says leave, right, then the Gemara Pesachim says you don't have to listen when he says leave. It's a normal house. We should be able to tell you to leave. The reason is, if he tells you to leave, you shouldn't listen to him because he might not really mean it, or maybe there's dire consequences if you actually listen to him. So maybe at least fight for your life. Um, Exit stage left. So basically, you're in captivity. It's unfortunate how this got mixed into the halachos about a regular meal, but I think there's no other way of me understanding the halachos properly. So all these halachas you have to be on your strict and best behavior, not to offend anybody. Whatever is being handed to you, take. If you don't want to eat it, leave it in front of you. Don't leave your piece of bread on the table or next to your friend. You have to be very careful at the meal to basically um, follow every possible type of etiquette possible, so you won't make the balabais angry. It's always talking about the kaspasu. There's anger, meaning the person who's taking you captive is getting angry. He's going to kill you. So we're talking about zakat nefashos the whole time, and I think that makes sense in the halacha. Ted Zion, lo yishtem hakos v'yizyon lechaverim nes zakat nefashos. A lot of these halachas are based on zakat nefashos. One of them is you shouldn't take from your cup and let someone else drink, because that's not proper etiquette for sure. If you're friends, you could do that. If you're family, you could do that. But there's no real sakanat nefashos. The mafarshim say because he might have a terrible sickness in his body, he might spread it to you. I think it's talking about people are eating together in their captivity. Don't give it to somebody else because he didn't tell you to do it. Do whatever he says. Red light, green light, whatever he says, do it and stop. Simon says. Only when Simon says, do it, and don't do anything besides what Simon says to do, tell you to do. And that's why the last halacha Beis, which is sourced from Orchos Chaim, Gemara Maseches Tamid, Gemara in Tamid. The first halacha about sakanas nefashos, the source of that Sham. Derech Eretz. Mesechus Derech Eretz, I think. Derech Eretz, I think, is talking about this case about when you're in captivity, you're taken hostage or something like that. Unfortunate, terribly unfortunate circumstances. No one should find themselves in such a circumstance. Uh, it's a really bleak circumstance, and hopefully most people should never know about the simon. But halacha of beis, I think, makes sense. It says when you drank from a cup and you want to give your friend a drink, the other person wants to drink from it. I think it is a good idea to wipe away the germs. I don't think you should. I think you should drink from other people's cups, but it might be a good idea to wipe away where his mouth was, or pour some water over there. That makes sense to me because people do have germs. You could get a little sick, get a cold. I don't know, the flu. Not sakanas and fashos. So I guess I said a lot of these halachas, most of these halachas from Derech Eretz, at least the ones from Mesechus Derech Eretz, are probably talking about a case where you're in captivity, where you have to be very careful what you do at the meal, unless the captor is going to get angry and have you executed. Um, at a normal meal, these halachas don't apply. And Chavbez, some of the halachas from source from different places do make sense, but most of these halachas shouldn't be taken at face value. And when you're drinking a meal, you can take as many sips as you want from your glass. You don't have to make sure to take exactly 2 sips. Any of the other halachas that appeared, we talked about in the regular share, don't be careful about these halachas. I don't think they apply under normal circumstances and normal meals. Hard to believe they apply, and if they do apply, then the whole world is violating the simon on a daily basis. Hope you enjoyed tonight's share. See you in the next one.